All right, guys. This is going to be a pretty interesting message. Pretty short one, straight to the point. But I think with this sermon, it's going to help some people who are on the edge of their seats because now they're having a bit of a light at the end of the tunnel type moment. This message, the name of it is going to be called Just Waits, Desperate Measures. Two names. Just waits, and then in parentheses, desperate measures. Just waits, desperate measures. And this sermon, in the title of this sermon, waits is spelled W-A-I-T-S, like when you're waiting for something, you're being patient for something. And there's a reason why I'm spelling it that way. This sermon is going to be definitely a play on words, a lot of word play in this one. So just stay with me on it. This is going to be pretty fun. That With that said, let me explain exactly who may need this sermon in particular. I've done sermons plenty of times before on prayer and being patient and waiting for something, waiting for God to give you something or help you get something, believing God for something. And waiting, having to wait, having to be patient, even if you don't really want to, and what to do if you've been praying for something and it hasn't happened yet, and blah, 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 blah. I've talked about all that, but in this particular sermon, it's not about so much continuing to wait and not seeing anything, just continuing to go by faith. This sermon is for those who have been waiting for something and waiting and you didn't see nothing for a while, but now you're starting to see a glimpse of what it is that you've been waiting for. Like I said, that light at the end of the tunnel moment. Maybe it's like God has dropped some hints to you or shown you some things. Maybe he's shown you something in a dream, or maybe he's shown you something just right out in reality. Maybe he's pointed out something to you, or you see a door of opportunity getting ready to open up for you. So now you see it coming. It's like right at your fingertips, but yet you don't quite have the access to it just yet. And so now, after all the waiting you did when you couldn't see it, now that what you have been waiting for is almost yours or could be yours, it's like you see it now, you can envision it now. Now you're like at the edge of your seat, and it's almost like you can't sit still. You're so ready. But what I'm here to tell you is, as much as you're ready, you're still going to have to be patient and hold on just a little bit longer, because if you don't, you can make some mistakes in these last moments of this waiting period, and you don't want to do that. So as excited as you may be, stay calm and just let God finish working out what you know he's been working out. You may say, what do you mean? Well, for those following along in the word, I'm going to be starting out in Proverbs chapter 16. So as you head that way, I'm going to explain some things. As I've said in many past sermons as examples, maybe for an example, maybe you're somebody, you've wanted promotion on the job and you've been there for years, or you've worked harder than so and so over there, and you're so ready for something, and maybe you've waited, but maybe there's never really been opportunity for promotion. Maybe there just haven't been any openings on a higher level than what you're at, or maybe you needed somebody to either step down or transfer to a different job or quit and go to another job, or for somebody to move up to an even higher position that they're already in so you can move into their spot. Maybe you just never really had that up until this point. And maybe something has happened. Maybe someone has moved out of the way, and maybe now you're hearing about people saying, well, they're going to be doing interviews soon for whoever wants that spot. Or maybe you just heard some rumors about somebody getting ready to leave or move up or move on or whatever. But maybe you've been seeing some things or hearing some things, and you're thinking, oh man, here it is. Here's my chance. It's coming up. And some of you, let's just go ahead and be honest. Let's be honest. There are some of you probably are sitting right now thinking, I heard somebody's gonna be leaving. I don't know who it is yet, but I hope it's blah blah blah. I hope it's them because I can't stand them, and it would be awesome if they left so I could have their spot. And it's jacked up to think that way, but come on, some of us are like that. We'll be Christians and nice and sweet, but as soon as we think that there's somebody we're not too particularly crazy about, as soon as we think they're fixing to leave, now all of a sudden, oh man, we start thinking about it. I hope it's them. They get on my nerves. I hope it's them. I hope they leave. Some of y'all do it. Come on now. It's not really the right way to be sometimes, but sometimes, man, sometimes. But maybe you've had that happen. Or maybe it's not in the workplace. Maybe it's something in particular. Maybe there's a new apartment or new home that you want, and maybe there's a certain location that you want it in. Maybe things are not going right where you live, whether it be in the home you're in or whether it just be the neighborhood. And so maybe you've been driving around looking at different places and eyeing certain spots that you would like to stay in, and you've been envisioning it and speaking it over your life and this, that, and the other. And one day you're driving through that same neighborhood you like to stay in that same one of those same houses or that same apartment complex, and you look and you see that there's some vacant spots, some openings, and you're thinking, oh man, I know I can afford this, I know this will be good, blah 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 blah. But you see some people going in and out doing some work on the inside, some interior work has got to be done, or maybe some work on the outside, and you get a little impatient because you're thinking, oh, I wish it was ready right now so I could get in there. But now you got to wait a little bit longer to see if you can even have a chance to get in there, because some work's got to be done. And there's a part of you that's like, oh, I just want to get in there. And then there's the other part of you that's like, well, obviously if some work's got to be done, it's better if I wait so I don't get blamed for something that's not my fault. So now you're having to sit and wait and watch. Maybe it's not a new home. Maybe there's a new vehicle that you're needing. Maybe you just want one, or maybe you really need one. Matter of fact, let me say this. That's something that I can relate to right now. I've been praying for a while on on a vehicle. Not that I had one in mind in particular. I was just like, God, show me what I need to know, because I've been praying for one. I've been thinking, okay, I know God's going to make a way for this to work. So I've been praying. And it was like I had this dream, and he was showing me some things, and I believe he was showing me what my next vehicle was gonna be, like the make and the model, right? So ever since I had that dream, and this was like weeks ago, I think. Ever since I had that dream, it seems like no matter where I'm at, I keep seeing that type of car. But previous to this, it was like I almost never saw this car anywhere. Like I rarely saw it. Like there may be like maybe two, maybe three people in this town that had the car that I would actually see regularly, simply because I would go to a particular area where people that had that car would park their car, so I would just so happen to see it. But that was it. Other than that, I never really just saw it. I never just so happened to come across the vehicle out on the road when I'm driving, my mom's car, or while I'm riding in someone else's car, or if I'm out walking somewhere. I just never really just so happened to see this car. But ever since I had that dream, it's like every time I go somewhere, I see, and it might not be the same year or color of the car, but it's almost always the same make and model. And I can be out driving somewhere and I'll pass that car, that type of car, like 2 or 3 different times. Or I'll be somewhere and I gotta park, and the one parking spot that's open, when I park there, I just so happen to park beside that type of car. I go out of town. There the car is. I'm at work. Somebody pulls up to get out of their car to come in, and I look out the window and it's that car. It might not be the same person or people, but it's like everybody's got this car. And then I'm thinking, now, used to I never really saw it, and now I see it all the time. driving my mom's car at a stoplight. Here comes that same car just just pulling up right beside me. It's like I could just roll down the window and reach out and touch somebody's hand. Make this world a better place if you can. That's how I feel. Like I can just hear that song. Just reach out and touch. I can just reach out and just touch the car. It'll just magically be mine. But it's crazy how now it's like I see it all the time, and now before that I never saw it, but it's like in reach now. It's like God saying almost, not yet, but not quite, but I'm almost there. It's almost there. You can see it now, literally all the time, but not just yet. but you see what I'm talking about. That's what I mean when I say it's like whoever needs this message, it's like you've been waiting for something, and now it's like you're getting that glimpse of it. Now it's like you feel like it's almost yours now, but it's still not quite there yet, but now you can see it, right? Or maybe for you, maybe for a long time you've been wanting a good Christian man or good Christian woman, right? And so maybe it seems like in the past when you would try to date people and get to know people and stuff like that, it was like you would come across people that you got along with, y'all had stuff in common, but maybe they weren't Christians, or maybe they said they believed in God, but they didn't really try to live for the Lord. And maybe there was kind of something that you didn't want to try to get too far into because you didn't want to do the whole, unequally yoked type thing. And then you got to a point where you started dating more Christians and getting around more Christian people and trying to see if something would happen. But then the problem was, it was like you didn't have things in your personal life in common with them, or you felt like there wasn't any real chemistry there, like there wasn't something that clicked, like the fireworks didn't go off, But now finally you feel like you've come across somebody that's a Christian, but there's also chemistry there too, and you're thinking, oh my goodness, this could be it right here. But now it's almost like you want to just dive in head first too fast. You want to try to force it, and maybe you've done or said something that now you look back and you're thinking, and you're like, man, I sure hope I didn't do or say something that made me look stupid. I might ruin my chances with this person. I don't need that. So with that said, what I'm saying to you is, simply put, keep praying on it, keep seeking God on it, keep your focus. Don't get so caught up in rushing that you try to make it happen just in God's timing. Believe that it is going to happen. You made it up until this point. You see the light at the end of the tunnel. Just stay calm. I know it's hard. I know. Just stay calm. Proverbs 16 verse 11 says this: a just weight and balance are the Lord's, and the weights of the bag are his work. God likes a just weight, and it's spelled Weight, as in, like, how much something weighs, how heavy it is, or a measurement of something. What does this mean by a just weight and balance? What does it mean by weight and balance? It means kind of like scales, something used to measure something or balance something out to see the worth or the weight of it. Balances. And so he likes a just weight. Now this is where the play on words comes in. You, whoever this may be for, you feel like you are having an unjust weight. And I spell that W-A-I-T, as in waiting on something, having to be patient. You feel like you're at a point where now it's like, man, it's not even fair that I'm still having to wait on this. This is just not a just wait. I shouldn't have to keep waiting this out. This just really sucks. That's how you feel like it's an unjust wait. But it's almost like God is saying, no, it is a just wait, W-A-I-T, because while you're doing this waiting, I'm making sure things are measured. The things that you're about to receive that you've been waiting for are measured with just weights, W-E-I-G-H-T. It's a just wait because I'm making sure it's measured with just weights. Oh, goodness. Here, in other words, it's like God is saying, I've been working on some things behind the scenes. And what I'm doing is I'm giving you a bit of a glimpse now so that you can see you haven't been waiting in vain. I'm keeping your hopes up. I'm letting you know, hey, keep holding on. But don't get mad and frustrated and impatient right now at the last moments, because this wait, even though the waiting feels unjust, it's just. And you'll thank me in the end, in the long run, because while you're waiting in this just wait, I'm making sure what I'm about to get to you is right for you, that it's perfect and it's balanced out, and I've worked the kinks out of it, and it's been weighed out correctly just for you. I'm weighing it with just weights. So this just weight that you think is an unjust weight is working out for your favor, because when you get what I have for you, it will be measured on a just weight. Oh boy. So if you would just wait, your stuff will be measured out correctly with just weights. Okay. Just weights and balances. It'll be balanced out. Let me put it to you this way. When I still had my dog King, and I thought of this when I was getting ready for this sermon, and I was like, I got to share this because this is perfect. My dog, when I had him, I had all kinds of little chew toys for him, right? And like, I might be in my bed laying down, and I might be looking at watching something on YouTube, or, reading something in my Bible or something like that. And I'm just doing my own thing. And King would be somewhere in the house playing with his chew toy, and I couldn't see what he was doing. But I figured if he was quiet, he was chewing on something. So he'd be doing his own thing. Well, then later, eventually, he would come into the bedroom, and he'd hop up on the bed with the chew toy hanging out of his mouth, and he'd lay down and get comfortable, and he'd go right back to chewing on this toy. Only difference was he wasn't off in the living room or somewhere else chewing on it. He was right there in the room on the bed with me, where I could see him chewing on it. And he'll be chewing on it and kind of looking at me while chewing on it at the same time, like, hey, look at what I'm doing. And what I would do to just kind of play with him, I would kind of put my hand out and kind of act like I'm trying to take it from him. Like I'd take the end of it. He wasn't chewing on it, kind of just wiggle it a bit. I wasn't really trying to take it, but I was just kind of like, then I say, can I has it? Not have, H-A-V-E, but I'd pronounce it has, H-A-Z, just to be cute with it. Can I has it? Can I just has it? I just want to has it. Let me has it. And I'd act like I'm trying to take it from him. And when I did it, he would get a firm grip on his chew toy, and he'd kind of like back up just a little bit and go back to chewing. And I'd reach out a little bit more, and he'd back up, and he'd just go back to chewing, like, not now. You can't have it right now. Not till I'm done chewing on it. When I get done chewing on it, then I move on to the other chew toy. You can has this one, but until then, you can't has it. And I'm thinking, you're doing it right in front of me. You're chewing it right in front of me. You could have stayed in there. You're going to bring it in here. And then when I try to play with you you back up, But that's kind of like how it's been for you in your wait. You were waiting on something, and God was working on some things behind the scenes, and you couldn't see it for the longest. So you had to stretch your faith to believe. But now that God has come into the room and got on the bed with you, and he's working on it in your face, kind of like my dog was chewing on it in my face, and he's showing you, hey, see, you haven't been waiting for nothing, just hold on. And then you want to reach out and be like, can I has it, God? Can I just has it now? And God's just like, hold on, I'm not done chewing on it yet. I'm not done working out the kinks. I'm not done balancing this out for you. Hold on. Not yet. You can't has it yet. That's like what he's saying. You can't has it yet. But you got to just wait and know that as hard as it is to believe, it is a just wait. It's not unjust. It's not unfair. It's not unrighteous. It's not, any of that. It's very fair. It's very just. It's very correct. God knows what he's doing, and his timing is not yours. You just got to wait it out. Deuteronomy chapter 25. Starting at verse 13, it says this: Thou shalt not have in thy bag diverse weights, a great and a small. And thou shalt not have in thy house diverse measures, a great and a small. But thou shalt have a perfect and just weight, and perfect and just measure shalt thou have, that thy days may be lengthened in the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. So here God is saying to his people, you shall not have diverse weights or diverse measures. So what's being said here? What does it mean by diverse? It means different types, big and small, or true and false, as some translations may put it. So what it's meaning is this. In these biblical times, what people could do is when they would try to give somebody maybe money or something that they owed them, or maybe they were supposed to give someone their due wages, they would have these balances, and they may have their balancing stone on one thing, and what they were supposed to give over they could set it on the other side of the balance and weigh it out, and when it was even, it's like, okay, this is what's yours. So they may have like a big weight where they would balance things out correctly to give someone their full value of what they were supposed to give them. But they may also have other weights that may be a little bit smaller and a little bit smaller and a little bit smaller, so that when they balance things out on these weights, it may appear to the untrained eye that you're getting your full value, but you're not. You're really supposed to be getting more, but you're not catching that this scale might be just a little bit smaller than the main scale they're actually supposed to be using. So you're getting cheated out of all of what you're supposed to be receiving. So it's unjust. It's unjust weights and unjust measures, or diverse measures. So when these people would try to cheat people with these diverse measures, because they were so desperate and so determined to get to keep more held back for themselves than what they were supposed to, another way of looking at it, check this out. Another way of looking at it is how we say desperate measures. And what I mean is that saying, what I'm referencing is that old saying we use, desperate times call for desperate measures, right? Y'all have heard people say that all the time. Well, desperate times call for desperate measures. Y'all have heard that expression or that saying before. And when someone says that, they're simply saying, hey, if you are in a situation, a dire situation, a desperate situation where you desperately need something done, and you have to make something happen, you take a desperate measure. In other words, you do something out of desperation to try to hurry up and get something done or make something happen your way, even if it means doing something that you normally wouldn't do, or even doing something that at heart really isn't right. You're taking a desperate measure. You're trying to go all the way to make something happen in your advantage that might be a bit extreme. It's taking a desperate measure. It's just an expression. Desperate times call for desperate measures. And so when they're using diverse measures, that's another way you could say it. If you think about it, they were taking desperate measures. In other words, they wanted more for themselves when it was time for the payout, but they would rather try to, out of desperation, hold back out of greed. So they took a desperate measure by using diverse measures, incorrect balances, cheating people out of what was theirs on purpose, taking a huge risk of getting themselves in trouble, or taking a desperate measure. That's how they took their desperate measures, by using diverse measures. So again, kind of a play on words here. And so what I'm simply saying to you is, now you see the importance of this just wait, this waiting you're having to do. Because there's and I've said this before too, and I've got to say this. I've said it in the past, but I've got to keep saying it. I've said it quite a bit earlier this year, but I got to keep saying it. This is a jubilee year. This is a year where a lot of things that have been laid up for the or have been set aside by the wicked have really been laid up for the righteous. And so there are a lot of things, not just money, but money, material possessions, land, buildings, finances, opportunities. There are all types of things that have been stored away by the wicked for their own purposes, because they've held back from people who are more deserving, or people who are supposed to have certain things or certain inheritances. There are people who are holding things back, and they're having to let it go and give it over to the just. They held it back for the wrong reasons, but God has allowed it to be laid up for the righteous. So with that being said, it kind of plays into this right here. People holding back from what's rightfully someone else's. But at some point, you got to give it over. And so with that said, again, this is why it's important to understand it is a just wait, because as God is working things out, He's making sure that what He has in store for you is balanced out just right. The kinks are out. He's getting everything how it's supposed to be, so that you are not cheated in what you get. So that when things are given over to you, these people that have to give things over to you are not cheating you. You're getting your full value. So if something's given to you, the whole thing's given to you. If you're supposed to receive something and you do have to pay for it, but God's supposed to be making sure you get it at this favorable price because you've got favor with God, but then they try to charge you more than the actual value, that won't happen. You don't try to rush into this relationship before God gets done working on that person, because He's getting all the bad habits and all these things out of them, and He's getting all of that old emotional baggage out of them, so that person doesn't try to make you pay for the mistakes of their exes. Get it? Not being charged more. Again, a play on words, not paying, so to speak, for what somebody else did. So you're not paying too much for things. You're not paying the price, so to speak, for what someone else's exes did. You see what I'm saying? You're getting all of what it is that you're paying for. You're not missing anything. Your items are made whole, so to speak. Your faith will make them whole. Right? Like Jesus told that to the woman, your faith has made you whole. Well, your items will be made whole, They'll be given to you completely. When you get your car, it'll actually last this time. It won't break down 11 times. You won't have to constantly get it fixed every other week. This is going to work out. This new place won't have all these holes that are hidden, and then all of a sudden you get a bad thunderstorm and all of a sudden there's leaks everywhere and all these creepy crawlies coming in. You don't know where they came from, and at first everything was fine, and the next thing you know, there's roaches everywhere, but you're clean, so you don't understand how this is happening. And you know what I mean? He's making sure that everything is all right. You think everything's fine, and next thing you know, you start moving some stuff around, and you see where they done covered up little holes in the wall where rats and all types of critters been running in and out, and you're like, well, wait a minute, let me move some more stuff around. And all these unnecessary pictures that they done left behind on the wall, you start moving them, and you start seeing stuff, and you're like, oh man, now I gotta turn around, I gotta go. I'm just gonna give the key back. But you see what I'm saying? He's working it all out for your favor. He's making sure that you're not cheated. And this is why also you have to wait it out, because if you try to take things before time, you might really just cheat yourself. So you also cannot get caught up in taking desperate measures to get what it is that God has already promised to be yours. All his promises are yes and amen. Finally, the very last place I want to take you to, and I'll wrap this up. It's Luke 18, and it says this. And he spake a parable unto them to this end, that men ought always to pray and not faint. So Jesus is about to give a parable about why people, when they're seeking God for something, they should continue to stay in prayer and not faint and not give up. Verse 2, it says this, saying, and this is Jesus speaking, there was in a city a judge which feared not God, neither regarded man, and there was a widow in that city, and she came unto him, saying, avenge me of mine adversary. And he would not for a while, but afterward he said within himself, though I fear not God, nor regard man, yet because this widow troubleth me, I will avenge her, lest by her continual coming she weary me. So what's being said is this. Jesus is saying there's this, basically what he's saying is there's a very unjust judge. He's a judge. He gets to make decisions and he gets to call the shots. But he's not very just. He doesn't fear God. He doesn't really care about the man or the people he's judging. He just, he's just in it just to be able to throw his weight around, I guess you could say. He's a very unjust judge. He's not all that concerned about what's just and what's right and what's fair and what's equal and what's this and what's that. And so there's a woman who comes up to him and she won't leave him alone. Hey, I need you to avenge me of my adversary. In other words, I need you to go and make things right. You got to help me with this problem that I'm having with this person who has come up against me and done me wrong. I can't stand up for myself. I can't avenge myself. I'm a widow. I don't have a man to stand up for me to fight the battle for me. So I need you to help me out in this matter. I've been done wrong. I don't have nobody to help me. I'm just a widow woman. I need your help. The judge could care less because he's an unjust judge, but he thinks within himself, wait a minute. If I don't go ahead and help this woman out, she's going to keep coming back and coming back and coming back and getting on my last nerve. And I don't want to keep listening to all this nagging. So I tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and help her, not because I fear God and not because I care and not because of this or that, but simply because I want her to leave me alone. And so that's what he's saying here about this unjust judge. Now watch this, verse 6. And the Lord said, hear what the unjust judge saith. And shall not God avenge his own elect, which cry day and night unto him, though he bear long with them? So what Jesus is saying is this. He's saying if an unjust judge will help somebody out who's in a desperate need, how much more will the judge of all judges, God, help his people? If an unjust judge who doesn't really care about anybody really will help somebody out, even though it's for his own personal agenda, how much more will your heavenly Father, the most just judge of all, how much more don't you think he'll help you? It might not be when you want it. It'll be in his timing. But in his time and in his will, he'll answer your prayer. You just have to faint not. You can't give up. You can't throw in the towel. You can't doubt. You have to know that when the enemy will help, listen, when the adversary of your soul, Satan, the devil, if he'll help his followers out to an extent, because he don't care about them, he's just using them, but those who do serve him, if he'll give them, little his version of what a promotion is and this, that, and the other, if he'll give them riches and fame and fortune, if he'll give them what they want, do you not think your God, who actually created you and who actually cares about you, don't you think that in due time he will help you? Don't you think he'll help you? Do you not know he'll help you out? You're mad because you're thinking this is so unjust. But I'm simply here to tell you it's just a just wait. It's not a time for desperate measures, because you'll end up with diverse measures. It's not a time to try to say, I'm not going to wait. This is an unjust wait. It is a just wait. It's a just wait so that when you get what's yours, it will be measured in just weights. Trust in God and listen to what Jesus said just now here and what I just read to you in the Gospels. Your God, the just judge, not the unjust judge, but the just judge is saying, if you would but just wait, it's not an unjust wait. Just wait, so your weighing out will be weighed out with just weights. So just wait, says the just judge, not the unjust judge. Just wait. I'm just having fun now. I'm just saying this stuff over and over to see how long I can go without getting tongue-tied. But anyway, you got the point. So I'll pray us out here. Heavenly Father, I thank you for another time to minister another word. Lord, I pray that those who needed this message, that they would receive it, that they would not get too impatient. Sometimes when what you've been waiting for is right there in your face, it's kind of hard to just bite the bullet and just hold on. But we got to hold on. You know what's right for us, even when we don't know what's right for us. And you know things that go on behind the scenes, even when we don't. You know it all, Lord. So you know when the time is right. Sometimes the time don't even seem like the right time. Sometimes it almost feels like you came late, like it's all after the fact. But after the fact, we realize, wait a minute, this was perfect timing the whole time. We have to be patient and wait on you, Lord, because you will reward those who have been diligently seeking you. And I give you the praise, the glory, and the honor, Lord. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.